What's up, Barnhill family, and welcome back to the channel.
Yo.
So, Nick, we got a great main event this coming weekend, the final pay-per-view of the 2021 calendar year, and what a year it's been, but fight of the year still isn't set in stone yet, and who knows, maybe Dustin versus Charles will give us just that.
Man, that's right. This is one of those fight cards that has a lot of potential on it to be maybe the best card of the year. You know, there's a lot of heavy hitters that we've gotten this year so far. Great fights, great cards all around, free ones and pay-per-views. So this one's got a lot to live up to, but I feel like it's got all the right fighters to make for a really special night for the UFC. It's like an early Christmas gift, right? Or late Hanukkah, whatever you want to call it. It's right there smack dab in the middle of December. I'm very excited for it. And, you know, Olivera hasn't gotten the respect that he deserves as the champion yet. And partially, I think people are just waiting to see who the real champion is. And I feel like the Khabib dust still hasn't settled yet. I feel like people are still like, okay, well, he's the best, but let's get everybody in a row. And once we see somebody defend a title, then we'll really know that we've got a clear champion and the belt's not moving around and playing musical chairs. Dustin Poirier is obviously people's favorite because he's come in as a slight favorite over the champion, the current king of the most stacked division the UFC and any mixed martial arts sports or organization has ever seen.
Right. Yeah, and that's the crazy thing about it. I don't feel like Charles has gotten the respect he deserves either, and I'm calling it sort of the Khabib hangover. You know, and it's no slight to Khabib. Khabib was just so freaking good and so dominant while he was the champion that nobody's really ready to relinquish that to somebody else yet.
Right.
But the reality is it has been relinquished. We have an undisputed world champion, and his name is Charles Bronx Olivera. And I think rightfully so. Dustin Poirier says all the time, paid in full. And both of these guys have a very similar history. You know, they're both a decade in the UFC. They both have grinded out tough fights in multiple weight classes, 145 and 155. They both have been underdogs in more fights than they've been favorites in. And so I think there's a lot of similarities in a lot of ways to these two fighters, and I think it's going to be a great fight. I think that their skills match up really well against one another. I think if you look at it, Dustin probably has a slight edge in boxing, but by slight, I mean very slight. I think Charles probably has a slight edge in jiu-jitsu, but again, by slight, I mean very slight. So it's going to really be a matchup of two people who are super evenly matched in multiple facets of the mixed martial arts game, trying to see who's just a little bit better. And I know Makhachev's out there. I know everybody's talking about this guy being the future of the division, and I don't doubt that. But on December 11th, we're going to have the 155 undisputed title contested for, and I think the winner of that fight should get some respect as being the best 155er in the world at this point in time. Maybe next year it changes, but December 2021, the winner of this fight's the best 55er on the planet.
Yeah, and I don't doubt that Islam Makhachev has the skills to be the future of the division and be a champion in the next coming months, 18 months or so. But, you know, that hasn't been, fully proven to us yet. And I believe that the past is Khabib. You know, Khabib is the GOAT of the division, in my opinion. But we have to look at the present. You know, the present is the most important. And right now, Charles Olivera is the present guy. He's the number one guy. It's saying Islam Makhachev is the best 155er on the planet when he doesn't have a belt wrapped around his waist. It might not be a far fetch, but it's also not true. And it's a less exaggerated version of me saying, you know, I'm a coach and I have a school down the street and I've got this 16-year-old kid that's for sure going to be the best one day. He's going to be a world champion. It's like, yeah, well, we're not going to take your word for that because this guy has a decade, 2 decades to come and prove himself. Maybe he will be. But until that time comes, we have to put some respect on the current champ. And in my opinion, Olivera has done some heavy lifting. I mean, longest winning streak in the UFC right now, I think, across all divisions.
Most finishes.
Finishes. He's truly a mixed martial artist that can do it everywhere. He's got, in my opinion, some of the slickest jiu-jitsu. And, you can watch his old fights and even the more recent ones, but also go watch some of his training footage. God, he's slick on the ground. He's really one of those guys that doesn't just look for scrambles back to their feet, but he looks to hang out down there and threaten submissions. Dustin Poirier is going to have to watch those limbs because if one gets isolated, it could be a bad night for him. And I also think that his striking has come along a tremendous amount over the past couple of years. And while he doesn't have the hands of Dustin Poirier, because Dustin's one of the top boxers in the entire sport, he has the kicks and he mixes it up very well. So I feel like it's a very dangerous fight for Dustin Poirier, both standing and on the ground. But the same can all be said for Charles Olivera.
Yeah, I mean, Dustin had a fight with Max Holloway where he outboxed him, and people talk about Holloway being the best boxer, and there's certainly an argument that can be made for that. Dustin's very good, and I guess we got to get down to predictions, and this is still such a hard one for me to predict. I think I'm going to go Dustin because I believe in the tide of momentum, and I think if Dustin Poirier wins this belt, there may not have been a fighter who has had a better / more lucrative year ever than Dustin Poirier. I mean, beating Conor McGregor twice, the biggest draw the sport's ever seen, putting him out twice by finish. I get the last one. I know how it ended, but on paper, you finished Conor.
Doctor stoppage.
It was a doctor's. Did it end up getting ruled as a doctor's stoppage?
I don't remember, but Conor wanted it to be known that it was a doctor's stoppage.
Even with a broken leg, he had the awareness. That shows you how much of a showman he is. As a side note, but to finish Conor McGregor twice and then cap the year off by winning the undisputed belt in the toughest division the sport's ever seen. Yeah. I don't think there's been a better year for a fighter ever. I believe in the paid in full mentality. I believe he's well prepared for this. I think Dia Davis is a fantastic boxing coach. I think Mike Brown's got him super well prepared at American Top Team. His strength and conditioning looks good. He looks to be in good spirits. He seems like all things are coming together for him to get this victory. Even though he's the slight favorite, he doesn't have the belt, I still think he's going to walk out with a chip on his shoulder like he's the underdog. And I think he's going to have to pay it in full, but I think he's going to pay it and then some, and he's going to get a 4th round finish.
Oh, wow. So he's going to take Bronx out.
TKO.
That's impressive. Poirier is one of those guys that has expressed to us multiple times that he doesn't even really want to or like to fight anymore. He's just so damn good that he's not going to leave a bunch of money on the table, and he needs that undisputed UFC title to really cap off his career. So I feel like he is a bit of a man on a mission, and he's trying just anything he can to get as much money as he can, get as much hardware as he can, and get out of town, right? Yeah. Go live in Louisiana, enjoy life with his family, get a little bit bigger. I know he cuts a lot of weight to make 155, but I think I'm going to go with Bronx. I feel like he has also been, just like Dustin Poirier, picked as the underdog for years upon years, and he's just had to prove people wrong all the time. And now he's the current sitting champion, and he's the underdog. That's going to make him angry. That's going to make him fired up, and I think that's going to bring a serious fight out of Olivera, and we're going to see a wild. This is not going to be a measured, purely calculated, slow fight like you see in a lot of title fights, like there's a belt on line. This is going to be a fight where there's likely going to be a finish. I'm not convinced one way or the other that who's going to win. I'm going to predict Charles Olivera keeps his belt. But, I could definitely see a few ways to victory for Dustin Poirier. I could also see Olivera ending the night pretty early. Them getting into a crazy first round, leaving a little bit of gas tank issues for both of them. And then somebody making a big mistake, zigging when they should have zagged, as like we say, and winding up getting submitted or getting finished with something interesting. I feel like whatever the finish is in this fight, it's going to be interesting, and it's going to leave us going, okay, well, this guy clearly is the best 155er on the planet. Now we need to put some respect on his name and maybe not give him the dismissal of being an underdog again. And that's why I'm going Bronx. I think he's also a man on a mission. There's so many similarities to these guys. It's hard to pick. I wouldn't put any money on it because Dustin Poirier is always tough to take out. Oliveira, though, is very much the same. Super excited for this one. And Oliveira, I'm gonna go 3rd round submission.
3rd round submission for Bronx. Wow, that would really be something. To see Dustin the Diamond Poirier get submitted. But then again, it'd really be something to see Charles get knocked out, which is what I predicted. I think this fight is going to be wild. Our predictions will probably be way off in this one because there's so many variables in this. I love the similarity in the story. I love that both of these guys have stayed loyal to their team. Bronx could have come to any gym in the United States that he
Right.
wanted to. He's still with Shoot Box. They're expanding largely because now they have a world champion at their gym. They're doing things for kids. They're giving back. And sometimes when your mission in life is aligned appropriately, the good things happen to you. So I could definitely see Charles Oliveira winning this fight, but also I just think Dustin the Diamond is going to cap off an amazing career. I'm not saying he walks away with a win, by the way. I think he probably goes to 170 and tries to do something there. Who knows? The Covington fight's out there. I think Dustin got a taste of what a big payday feels like, and he likes it.
Yeah.
He also does, as do Bronx does, a lot of good with the money that he earns. So, for him to make a couple $1 million in a fight, that's $1 million I could put into the Good Fight Foundation. Right. So, I think that's he wants to make a lot of money, but the driving force behind it, I think, is well-intentioned by both gentlemen. So I think they're going to stick around, which regardless of whether he wins or loses, we'll probably see the Diamond back in there. I just think it's going to be his time. I think 2021 is the year of the Diamond. The Diamond in the rough is going to shine bright at the end of this year, and he's going to be undisputed world champion.
Yeah, Louisiana's going to be shaking. We'll probably feel it from over here in Houston if that is the case. But
by the way, Daniel Cormier is commentating on this fight, and him and Dustin are super close, being Louisiana guys. There's been a lot of talk about Daniel Cormier playing favorites. And I don't think it's so much that. I think Daniel Cormier is literally just such a big fan. It's like taking the world's biggest MMA fan and putting him front and center with a microphone.
Next to Joe Rogan.
Who's like the world's second biggest fan. But they just both happen to know a lot about fighting as well. But they're fans at heart, which I love that part of the commentary. I think John Anik rounds it out really well. And that's a topic for another video. But I think that DC, if Dustin wins, is going to have a really hard time containing himself. Yeah,
there's going to be a lot of respect and love for the Louisiana boys coming if Dustin Poirier gets a win. It's going to be really cool because Charles Oliveira is a champion, and he's got the belt, so he's going to get championship points on this. He's got, the pay-per-view clause and all of that stuff, so he will make more money, and I'm sure he won't leave and go into a mansion. He'll go right back to the favelas that he's from and live the tough life that he's always been living. I love that about him. I find that to be really cool. I think that Dustin does a lot of really cool things as well with the money that he's earning in the hardest way you can possibly earn money. And it's going to make for a special night. You've made out some good points about about Poirier, but I'm still going to go with Oliveira. I think this is just how it's going to get done, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I know you're ready for Saturday night. I can't wait, man.
I cannot wait.
No.
Guys, let us know in the comments. Nick thinks Do Bronx is going to get it done. I think 2021 is going to be the year of the Diamond. Let us know what you think, because we always enjoy engaging with you guys in the comments, so keep them coming. And if you haven't already, a subscribe to this channel and a like on this video is much appreciated, and it helps out tremendously. Until the next one, guys, have a wonderful day.
Peace.